He lay on the rough concrete, face bruised, shirt torn, hands trembling while cruel laughter rang from inside the glass doors. The staff had just dragged him out like trash, mocking the dirty beggar who dared enter their office. They never imagined the man bleeding on the ground was Joshua Anderson, 30-year-old billionaire CEO of The silence that crashed when the branch manager bolted out screaming, "Do you know who this is?" changed everything forever. Joshua Anderson never looked like the billionaires on television. No gold chains, no convoy, no designer suits that screamed money. Walk past him on the street and you would swear he was just another junior staff or even the cleaner. Yet at 30 he had built one of Africa's largest tech empires from nothing but hunger and a dream. Born in a dusty village in Kogi State, raised by a mother who sold puff-puff by the roadside, Joshua knew poverty intimately. He knew how the world kicked those who had nothing. That was why, when Undertech rose, he made himself one unbreakable promise: my company will be famous not only for innovation but for kindness and humility. To keep that promise alive, Joshua did something no CEO dared. He went undercover. Dressed as a beggar, a cleaner, or a madman, he visited his own branches to test one simple thing: how do my people treat those the world calls nobodies? This time the test was the brand new Port Harcourt branch. His private jet landed before sunrise. In a dirty airport toilet, he poured muddy water on old clothes, rubbed dust on his face, fixed a tangled wig and fake beard. In his hand he carried a torn nylon bag containing documents, stronger than gold-proof. He owned the entire building. He looked homeless, hopeless, worthless. He slipped past security and entered the sparkling reception. 6 staff sat behind glossy desks, sipping coffee under a giant banner that read, "Undertech, building the future with kindness and innovation." Joshua walked forward, voice soft and shaking. "Please, I just need 5 minutes with the manager." Sandra, the receptionist, almost spat out her tea. "You see the manager?" She burst out laughing. Catherine, Cynthia, Blessing, Linda, and one other joined in, eyes full of contempt. "This is not a charity home, madman. Look at your life. You even smell." One slapped the file from his hand, another kicked the bag outside. They grabbed his torn shirt, dragged him across the marble floor, and flung him onto the street. He landed hard, elbow bleeding, while their laughter echoed behind the glass doors. Then the doors flew open again. Andrew, the branch manager, ran out and froze. Joshua on the ground, staff still laughing. Andrew's voice thundered, "What have you done? Do you know who this is?" Laughter died instantly. Sandra stepped back, cup shaking. Cynthia went pale. Andrew rushed to help Joshua stand. "I am so sorry, sir. I had no idea." Joshua wiped blood from his lip, picked up the crushed file, and faced them. Every single staff member fell to their knees, crying, "Please, sir, we didn't know." Joshua looked only at Andrew. "Skill without character is poison. Fire them all." Today, one by one, their names were called. He lay on the ground, face bruised, shirt torn. Hands shook while laughter rang from glass doors. They pushed him out like worthless garbage, covered in dirt. The man cried quietly. They never knew the beggar was Joshua Anderson, billionaire CEO of Undertech, their real boss. Silence fell when the manager ran out screaming, "Do you know who this man truly is?" That silence changed everything forever that day. Let us return to how it all began. Joshua Anderson never flashed wealth like others. Passers-by mistook him for ordinary staff. At 30, he built Africa's biggest tech firm. Intelligence made him rich, but heart made him different. He knew hunger, pain, and cruel rejection daily. Rising from nothing, he made one sacred vow: my company will stand for kindness and humility. To guard that promise, he did something daring. He went undercover as cleaner or beggar, visiting branches to test treatment of nobodies. Today he tested the new Port Harcourt branch. Sun barely rose when his jet landed quietly. He stepped out in jeans and faded shirt. In a rented bathroom, transformation started fast. Muddy water-soaked clothes, dust smeared his face. Curly wig hid forehead, beard tangled with lint. To the world, he looked completely homeless. Inside the bag lay documents of true ownership. He approached the tall Undertech building slowly. Staff in bright uniforms laughed while entering. He waited, then slipped through the side gate. Reception gleamed, floors spotless, cold AC blowing. Big banner read, "Building future with kindness, innovation." 6 staff sat behind desks, sipping hot coffee. Joshua walked forward, trembling to sell the act. "I want to see the manager, please," he whispered. Sandra, the receptionist, almost spat her tea. Everyone turned, eyes wide with instant disgust. "You want the manager?" Catherine laughed loudly. "Do you think this place is charity home? Please, just one moment," Joshua begged softly. Cynthia stood up, voice dripping with mockery. "You didn't say cleaner, you said manager. A whole tech company manager. Imagine you." Sandra joined, wife dying or begging for job. Laughter exploded across the glossy reception. Joshua bowed his head, voice breaking slightly. One pushed his shoulder hard with force, another slapped the file from his hand. Catherine grabbed the bag and flung it outside. "You don't belong here, madman, get out." They dragged him through glass doors roughly. He hit concrete hard, elbow bleeding fast. File crushed beside him. People stared across road. Inside, they laughed like chasing stray dog. Then doors burst open again with panic. Andrew, the branch manager, ran out pale. He froze, seeing Joshua bruised on ground. "What did you do?" He screamed at staff. "Do you know who this man really is?" Laughter died instantly. Smiles turned to horror. Sandra stepped back. Cynthia dropped her cup. "I'm so sorry, sir. I had no idea." Staff fell to knees, crying and begging loud. "Please, sir, forgive us. We didn't know." Joshua looked only at Andrew, voice calm. "Even if they're the best coders here, dismiss them. We hire skill. But we need character more. What I saw today is everything I fight against." One by one names were called coldly. One by one termination letters were handed. Tears flowed. Begging echoed. Truth crushed them. The beggar they mocked owned the entire company. That night, Sandra sat alone in dark room. No fan, no food. Tears wet her cheeks. Newspaper screamed. CEO exposes arrogant staff. 5 dismissed for bullying undercover billionaire. Her phone buzzed. Interview invitation came. Joy flashed, then died as shame returned. Next morning she counted last coins for taxi. Driver refused change. Argument grew hot. She stepped backward onto busy road angrily. Motorcycle hit her hard. Darkness swallowed her. She woke to bright lights and beeping machines. Leg bandaged, arms scraped, head throbbing painfully. Nurse smiled. "You're in general hospital now." Tears fell again. Life had collapsed fast. 2 months jobless, name ruined on social media. Headlines mocked her daily without mercy. Friends vanished. Doors slammed on her CV. She felt completely broken and alone. Then the door opened slowly with quiet steps. Joshua Anderson stood there holding paper bag. Behind him, her 4 former colleagues waited, eyes wide, mouths open. None could speak. "Good afternoon," Joshua said gently and calm. Sandra burst, crying, trying to sit up. He raised hands softly. "Rest, don't move." "I'm so sorry, sir. We were monsters." "I didn't come for apology," he replied kindly. "I paid all your bills. Eat and heal." Catherine whispered, "Sir, you visited her." He turned. "I came for all 5 of you." They stood frozen, confused and ashamed. Joshua sat down, voice steady but firm. "Skill matters, but morals matter even more. I believe people can change if they want." Sandra cried. "I lost my father recently. My brother is disabled. Bills crushed me. I poured anger on everyone, including you." Joshua nodded. "Pain is real, but choice defines us." He pulled 5 sealed envelopes from coat, names written neatly. Sandra, Catherine, Cynthia, Blessing, Linda. Letters of reinstatement on strict probation. Gasps filled the small hospital room. Sandra nodded, remembering her own dark past. At Café Kiamaka smiled. Story flowed smooth, but dates clashed. Photos looked too new. She left phone when going to restroom. Message flashed. "Fake DNA ready. Don't mess up." Sandra's blood froze. She ran to Joshua. Before she finished, doors burst open again. Kiamaka and Kelvin walked in triumphant. "You're right, I'm not his sister," she laughed. "But soon I'll own everything he built." Kelvin smirked. "Heart loses, strategy wins." Joshua pressed button. Red light blinked alive, every word recorded in high definition. Security entered, confession played loud. Kelvin lunged, guards grabbed him fast. Kiamaka collapsed, crying, "I was desperate." Joshua looked down. "You faked family itself." 2 days later, headlines exploded nationwide. Fake sister and ex-board member arrested. Sandra, once disgraced staff, exposes scam. Company town hall. Thousands watched live. Sandra, now director of ethics, stood proud. I once spat on him, now I protect his vision. Joshua spoke. Undertech is built on people. Second Chance Foundation is now permanent. That night, a message came from unknown number. You stopped Kelvin. But I know your real past. I'm coming for everything that's mine. DA. Joshua stared, heart finally unsettled. 3 days later, National Tech Summit in Abuja. Joshua took stage, lights bright and fierce. Mid-speech, a man stood shouting loud, David Akinlebe, you stole my code. The original idea was mine alone. Room froze, cameras flashed like lightning. Joshua smiled calm, pulled old document. Your 10% share was never removed. I kept it safe for 10 whole years. David's face fell. Crowd gasped again. But you tried hacking us with Kelvin. Security escorted him out in silence. 1 week later, Kiyamaka visited humbly. Simple clothes, no makeup, eyes honest. I teach village kids computers now. Thank you for not destroying me completely. Joshua smiled. Real second chance, not fake. 3 months later, Undertech 10th anniversary gala. Stage filled with every person once broken. Sandra, Catherine, former enemies, now family. Joshua's voice thundered with quiet power. Empires are not built by strength alone. They are built by kindness that refuses revenge. Crowd rose. Applause shook the entire hall. Joshua looked out, saw every redeemed face. He finally understood his true legacy. The greatest success is lifting those who fell, even when they once pushed you down hardest. And in that moment, Joshua Anderson was complete. Not because he won every battle, but because he chose mercy when vengeance was easier. The boy who sold Puff Puff beside his mother became the man who fed thousands with second chances. And the story closed not with billions, but with healed hearts beating together as one. Undertech had offices in 12 countries. The Second Chance Foundation had rebuilt over 40,000 lives. Sandra Auru was now executive director of the foundation, a global speaker, mother of 2 beautiful girls. Catherine ran the Port Harcourt branch with quiet excellence. Cynthia headed ethics training across the continent. Even Kiyamaka sent yearly reports from the village where she taught coding to children who had never seen electricity. David Akinlebe never returned. His 10% share was quietly transferred to the foundation the day he was sentenced to 7 years for corporate espionage. Peace, it seemed, had finally settled over Joshua's empire. Then one rainy Thursday evening in 2031, everything cracked open again. Joshua sat alone in his glass-walled office on the 47th floor of Undertech Tower, Lagos. The city lights blurred through the downpour. A single envelope lay on his desk. No stamp, no address, just 2 handwritten initials on the front. DA inside was one old photograph and a short note. The photograph showed a younger Joshua, maybe 19, standing beside a woman with soft eyes and a swollen belly. On the back, in faded blue ink, Grace and Daniel, December 2009. The note read, "You kept the company. I kept the secret. Meet me where your mother is buried. Midnight. Come alone. Or the world learns who you really killed to become Joshua Anderson." DA. His hands did not shake. They went cold. He knew that handwriting. He had seen it on birthday cards when he was small. He had seen it on the suicide note he found beside his mother's body 10 years ago. Daniel Amay, the father who vanished before Joshua was born. The father everyone said never existed. But the woman in the photograph was definitely his mother. And the date was 9 months before Joshua's own birth. At 11:47 p.m., he stood alone at the small village cemetery in Kogi. Rain fell hard. One torchlight cut through the darkness. A man stepped out from behind the old mango tree that shaded Grace Anderson's grave. Tall grey temples, same cheekbones as Joshua. He held an umbrella and a small wooden box. His voice carried the same village accent Joshua had spent years softening. Joshua's throat was dry. Daniel Amay. It was not a question. The man smiled without warmth. "Your father." "Yes, the one you buried with your mother." Joshua took one step forward. "I buried my mother. Alone. You were never there." Daniel opened the wooden box. Inside lay hospital bracelets, a tiny knitted cap, and a death certificate dated the same week as Joshua's birthday. "Read," he said, handing over the certificate. Name of deceased, baby boy Armour, cause, stillborn, mother, Grace, Armour, father, Daniel Armour. Joshua stared until the rain soaked the paper. Daniel spoke quietly. Grace was ashamed. Village girl, pregnant before marriage. She told everyone the baby died. She told you your father ran away, but I never left. I begged her to let me stay. She sent me away the night you were born, said a bastard child would ruin both our lives. She named you Joshua Anderson, after some American pastor on the radio, so no one would ever link you to me. Joshua's voice cracked. Why wait 20 years to destroy me? Daniel laughed, bitter and broken. Destroy you? Look at you, billionaire. Saint, I spent those 20 years in and out of prison for theft, just trying to eat. Every time I saw your face on Forbes, I remembered the son I was never allowed to hold. I wrote letters. She burned them. I came to the village. She chased me with a cutlass. Then she killed herself and left you the hero's story. He stepped closer. I don't want your money, Joshua. I'm dying. Liver cancer. 3 months left. All I want is one thing before I go. Joshua finally looked up. What? Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Let me bury my name on her grave. Let the village know Grace had a husband who loved her. Let them know you had a father who never stopped looking for you. That is all. Silence. Only rain. Joshua stared at the gravestone that read, Grace Anderson, beloved mother, 1990-2021. He knelt slowly in the mud. With shaking fingers he traced the letters. Then he spoke, voice steady for the first time. Tomorrow we change the stone. Grace AMA, beloved wife and mother. And beneath it, Daniel AMA, husband and father. Reunited. Daniel dropped the umbrella and cried like a child. Joshua stood, put his arms around the father he never knew he had, and held him while the rain washed 20 lost years away. 3 months later, the new gravestone stood simple and true under the mango tree. The village came out in hundreds. They brought food, songs, prayers. Daniel Almar died peacefully 1 week after the unveiling, holding Joshua's hand. Joshua did not hide the story. He told it himself at the next Undertech Global Conference. I was not an orphan made by fate, he said from the stage. I was a son hidden by shame. A son who found his father too late to build memories, but soon enough to build truth. Grace and Daniel taught me the hardest lesson. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them be human. Flaws, secrets, and all. He looked out at 10,000 employees, at Sandra crying in the front row, at Kiamaka live streaming from her village classroom. Second chances are not only for those who wrong us. The applause lasted 7 full minutes. That night, Joshua added one final line to his mother's foundation statement. The words now carved on every Undertech building across Africa. We do not build the future with perfect people. We build it with broken ones who choose truth over pride, love over silence, and kindness over being right.